I think for me, the biggest significance looking back on my experience is one, the relationships that I founded with all the people that I've come to know in that time period. I grew up an only child for the most part, and it was the closest thing to having brothers, if not genuinely having brothers, as I feel in my heart it is. And that's the biggest thing that I take away from that. I know I always have someone to call. I know that if something's going wrong in my life, I know I always got someone that I can turn to. That wasn't there anymore, and the hardest part is just being so detached from that so quickly, and there's no transition period, and just not being around people who understand Marines. I was living in my house, which felt more like a prison cell to me, because even though I wasn't chained to it, going out, I was just going out into like a world of strangers. I just felt very disconnected from everything around me, and I really didn't know why. Trying to connect with people, I felt like a sideshow in a lot of cases when they started asking me, like, where are you going back to school? Like, what did you do? This, that, and the other. So I ended up just kind of keeping to myself, and, I'd go to class, knock out my classes, go home, knock out the homework, and then start working on my own personal stuff, whether it's, working on my shooting or working on whatever it is on the side that I had going on at the time. The RSF and Team RSF, I just like, hey, these guys started a team and they're out there getting some and having a good time. I really didn't know what it was all about. One of my old teammates, Christian, was like, hey dude, I'm starting to work with TRSF and RSF, and they need some help with their media stuff. Sure enough, I told him, like, yeah, you know what, like, I'm interested. I'm thinking about reaching out. And so he kind of forced my hand, because he made the intro, like, he didn't ask me or anything like that. He was just like, hey, Mike, there's Chris is Mike, and that's how we kind of linked up. And it was one of those things where I'm glad he did, because I definitely would have reached out, but I don't think I would have done so in the same capacity as if he didn't just, like, throw me in and be like, hey dude, here you go, like, talk. I was kind of expecting, like, almost like a redneck gun party. Like, what kind of characters are going to be out at this thing? Because you see I didn't realize how big of a match this was, but you see, like, some of these matches and some of the people who come out to these, and, we've all watched those YouTube videos of these guys either practicing, and I was just like, man, like, I'm just wondering, like, who's going to be out there, and that was part of the appeal. But it was just going to be cool that, like, the fact that I was, it was kind of like getting up for a drill or for any sort of training exercise. Like, I'm linking up with two dudes who are shooters, and, I don't know that much about them, but I know that we share this commonality, and it was just refreshing to be able to, like, go with two guys who I know understand me at a basic core level in terms of, like, what I'm into and the type of person I am. And I knew I didn't need to know anything about you guys, like, on a personal level to know that would be there, that both of you are getting up at 5:30 in the morning, and because you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, I know you're similar to me. So when I hear people say like, oh, well, you're never gonna have this, I'm like, it's not about that. Like, it's really about reading a situation and understanding that situation in real time. Even though you're doing those walkthroughs before, like those walkthroughs don't account for a magazine jam or for, any sort of malfunction that's going on, or for you slipping on a rock, or you planning something one way and then falling back on your old habits and doing something wrong and then having to make up for it. I mean, it really is dynamic in that sense. Walking down a hallway and assessing a situation, and even though you've seen it once or twice, you still have to run it with time, with stress, with all that stuff. And that was the biggest thing for me. That was kind of the eye-opener. I was like, shit, like, this is as close as you're gonna get to dynamic, like, gunfighting, short of gunfighting.